How did Agent Orange affect Blue Water Navy veterans? Imagine serving on a ship miles away from land, thinking you're safe from the dangers on the ground. But then, years later, you find out toxic chemicals might have still reached you. That's the story of many Blue Water Navy veterans during the Vietnam War. Agent Orange was a herbicide used to clear dense jungle and destroy crops, containing highly poisonous chemicals like dioxin. While it was sprayed mainly on land, scientists later found that its effects could reach ships offshore through airborne drift or contaminated water. Blue Water Navy veterans are those who served on ships operating beyond the inland waterways, usually more than 12 nautical miles from Vietnam's coast. For many years, the Department of Veterans Affairs did not recognize their exposure to Agent Orange because they believed these veterans were safe from contact. They thought that being on ships offshore kept them away from the herbicide. But this assumption was challenged, as evidence grew that toxins could travel through the air or water and reach ships at sea. In 2019, new legislation called the Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Act was passed. This law changed the rules and said that veterans serving within 12 nautical miles of Vietnam's coast could be presumed to have been exposed to Agent Orange. This was a big step because it acknowledged that herbicide particles could drift over water and affect those on ships. It also meant that many veterans who had been denied benefits could now qualify for health care and compensation. The societal impact of this change was significant. It showed how understanding of exposure pathways evolved and how veterans fought for recognition. Many veterans had health issues like cancers, Parkinson's disease, and diabetes, which are linked to Agent Orange. The legal and political battles to include Blue Water Navy veterans in the presumption of exposure reflected their persistent efforts to have their service recognized and their health needs addressed. Today, veterans who served on ships near Vietnam can now access VA health care, disability benefits, and even survivor benefits for their families. They can get medical screenings and treatments for conditions connected to Agent Orange. This recognition helps them feel seen and supported after years of uncertainty. In the end, Agent Orange affected Blue Water Navy veterans in ways they could not see at the time. Despite serving at sea, they faced health risks from toxic chemicals that traveled through the air and water. Their fight for acknowledgement and benefits highlights how complex and long-lasting the effects of war can be. It also reminds us that service doesn't always happen on land. Sometimes, it's happening miles away from the front lines.